weren't we? There was one guy, we used to have a part of our show called Flush or Float. And basically, it was a tune of the week. And obviously, if it floated, it got away. Otherwise, it was flushed down the toilet. And it had the noise of a toilet being flushed as well. And we flushed everyone. Then we flushed Paul Oakenfold. We flushed Sasha. We were no mercy at all. But one particular guy, a guy drove all the way from Birmingham to have his show. He brought an acetate down to have it played on our show. We said, yeah, we'll play it on our show. And we slipped it into the Flush or Float part of the show. And the poor fella drove all the way from Birmingham to have his track ridiculed on air. And we were ruthless, weren't we, Brad? It's funny.
He actually said, I didn't mind. I just wanted to be on the road. And I remember when Stuart B come in and his friend, I can't remember his name, but he'd done a remix of Katie and the Sunshine Band. Was it Give It Up? What was it called? Beat It Up.
Oh, yeah.
And that went straight in the Kazi. It was called the Kazi. It was called the segment of the show was called In the Kazi, and that was the take on Bullseye, which is an old TV show which used to have.
We had a cult following, didn't we, Bran? We had a cult following with it.
Wait. Let's get a reenactment of what that would have been like. Poor guy brings his acetate. So you take the acetate, throw it on. Now give it to me. So you're playing.
What do you think of that, Blocky?
Well, let's put it to the vote, shall we? And then everyone used to ring in, and we'd have the phone lines going. And go flush or float. They go flush it, flush it.
And then something like, well, that's a load of rubbish. That one, wasn't it, Bran? In the Kazi.
Yeah.
It was more like a sort of like a take on Chris Evans, like a big breakfast on Friday on Kiss. Yeah. And it was just great. Again, we had loads of guests, but I mean, I never thought those things would happen. Being on a national radio station and being asked in the prime of our sort of madness to do that.
Right in the middle of the madness, man. God, that was hard work. Balance in both worlds.
This all happened because you guys were playing in Ibiza, and then Gordon Mack came to you, right, when you were over there and told you about it. So were you at Space at that time when it happened?
Yeah, Space.
I was standing behind the bar at Space, and Gordon leant over and said, do you two want a radio show? And I went, yep. I didn't even ask him. I just said, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was from both our behalves.
Don't worry about him. I'll vouch for him. I'm sure he'll join in. So we did. It ran for about 5 years, I think. And
we had a lot of success with that show, and it was just awesome when it ran. It was so much fun.
Fantastic.
So much fun.
Such fun.
So
involved in it helped us as well. Guests and everyone, they was all brilliant, weren't they? We used to do this thing like we find the most nervous guests on the day and just right last minute put the news and the travel in front of them and just go, right, do the news for us and leave the room. And just watch them melt. Didn't we? Watching people melt into the chair like that. Scared.
Of course you would both do that. That's what you do.
That's what we've done.
It's like you guys are what I call on the dean's list, not for goodness, only for naughtiness. But how did you two meet? I didn't hear that part. That's I've been waiting.
It's a long story, that one, Bram, isn't it? We've seen each other out and about a few times, but I got invited to guest at a club called Haven Stables in Ealing, and it was pretty much Brandon's territory. And I went there, and it was quite bizarre. I actually played after Groove Rider, didn't I? Groove Rider done an early set and left early, didn't he, Brand, on that day?
Yeah.
And I was playing after Groove Rider, because Groove Rider used to play house. Before the drum and bass, he's probably one of my favourite house DJs of the time, of the old era. And him and Fabio were just immense. I loved them. I went everywhere they went, sat behind them at Rage, Clink Street, whatever, and just learned a lot of the trade from those two, to be fair. And he had the privilege of playing after him at Haven Stable. And it was quite about the mixing at that point. It was quite, people really switched on, It was like the crowd had started to learn that mixing was a key thing, and you tried to run your beats in time and run them for a while. And I just come on after Groove Rider, and he killed it as always. Long mixes, brilliant stuff. So I thought, right, here I go. So I'm doing mine. I felt quite good. The crowd were going and everything. And I looked to my left to the doorway, and there was this commotion. I thought it was a punch-up at first. So I was kind of like looking at the doorman to say, do I need to turn the music off? And someone's caused a punch-up. And then I see these record cases aloft. And I see these high-fiving this, well, here he is, the local lad, Blocko. So he's bowled in the DJ box, bold as brass with his chest out, like looking me up and down, like I'm in his territory now. So I thought, right, I'll do the last mix and then we'll have a little chat. So I'm concentrating, put it in nice. And he's got his chest up, Charlie Big Potato. And he's looked at me to say, like, do one more, while I get ready. So I've taken, it was the old nod. Do you know the nod, Lenny? Like, go on, do one more, son. So I went to put one more. And as I put done the one more, he's emptied pretty much the better part of a rap of Charlie onto the turntable that's playing. So now the record's playing, and there's a line of gear on the turntable.
Got gear on there, huh? Oh, boy.
Going everywhere. And then proceeded to pass me a straw. So anyway, I had to take care of business and mix into the other record. So the other record's playing now, and I stood back and go, I've got to see what this fella's all about. Must be something special. And he's just standing there, both arms aloft, like looking around at everyone. I'm here. And the record's starting to play out now, Lenny, and I'm thinking, God, he's only got like about 30 seconds left. He hadn't even got the other record out of the box by now. So he's standing at the front of the DJ box now to make sure that everyone has known he's there now. And then it's gone, like the record's played out. So you've heard this kind of like fumbling, scratching sound. He's got the other record out. I'm playing quite deep housey stuff at the time. He went, I can't remember, he shouted something like, let's have it. Put the record on, and it was dun, 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 dun. Now that we found love, what are we gonna do? And the whole place just erupted, man. It's more of old Blockos here. Let's fucking have it. And it was just it's such a classic memory, and a good way to meet, wasn't it, Brand? To be fair,
wicked.
Check for a second.
What's that?
Can I interject? I want to say something to everybody. Didn't you love when Alex said his territory? Sound like a mafia moment. The Blocko family runs these clubs.
Yeah, the blocks.
Those clubs without the commission clearing it.
And you always thought he was Al Pacino as well.
The king is here. The king is here.
It was you know what? Then and then we lost touch for about a year, and then
I think we were both wandering around in the dark for a year, weren't we? After that,
in the midst of it, and then I'm gonna let Alex tell you a story in a minute, which everyone wants to know about because I've seen it in this chat. But so I suppose it leads to we got to talk about Ibiza, right? Because what happened then was about a year later, then me and my mate Baggy, God rest his soul, who was a massive part of my life, and I think about him all day long. Unfortunately, took his own life last year. So everyone out there, don't forget to reach out if you ever feel that you need to talk to anyone. You've got to do that. So anyway, we decided that we'd go to Ibiza because it was the place. And I actually been to Ibiza the year previous with Charlie Chester. And Charlie was, we were doing a reconnaissance mission because Charlie was planning on doing the first sort of Ibiza, the trip, which was called the Ibiza 90, which was, it's been written about for years because he took the bands, Primal Scheme, and took Andy Weatherall and Terry Farley and Rocky and Diesel and everyone else to DJ. I went out there to research the trip, and he never took me out there. Wait.
You left on the subs bench, weren't you, Blockers?
Hold on.
Get your own flight.
We're supposed to do reconnaissance and go and spec out the land, but you never get to go. That's great.
No, but you know what? That's
just a moment there. That's a true just a moment.
If it'd been any different, we wouldn't be here now, obviously, because it would have been our lives would have mapped out differently. But so I went back in 91, and it turned out, funny as this, so I get in an apartment with my mate Baggy, and Alex had heard I'm on the island. We hadn't seen each other for a year, and we had that great night, obviously the first time we met, and then on my apartment block, the next balcony was Alex's best mate, Matt Jahar, right? Remember him? And and then I leant over
the summer.
Oh, really? Wicked. So he leant over the balcony and went, "Hey, Alex is looking for you." I went, "Oh, right, where is he?" He went, "We don't know." But anyway, so the next morning, I think it was the morning, I get a banging on the door, right? He's absolutely hammered. And he swears like he never, calls everyone, every name under the sun, throws beer on me, and then walks out. And then proceeded to get taken in by the Guardia Civil for the next 8 hours of bashing. And then the next night, that evening, we went to the Cafe Del Mar as usual, and we was DJing there and everything. And then he turned up all bad and bruised, and then from then on, he'll tell you the story about how he started Space. But he said to me, "Look, come to Space in the morning and bring your records." And let him tell you how it was started, because he built that terrace with James Mitchell, and it was like I walked into this place and I went, "Oh my God, I've arrived. This is what it's about." And I went in, I took more 5 boxes. We had 5. How many times we lost our records? God, we had 5 boxes of records, which used to get left all over the island. And we'd get phone calls from everywhere. And don't forget, we never had mobiles, did we? So you'd have to go to, say, call that phone box at 6 o'clock, and we'd go and have a phone call with someone. Oh, it's not that phone box, it's the one round the corner. So you need to go and get a call saying, your record, we got your records. Anyway, so I went and put my records, we lined them up. He had 5, 6 boxes, and I had 5, 6 boxes, and it was right in the bar. So all the bar staff had to walk around our records, and we played that day till about 8 o'clock at night, and then we did it every day, or every Sunday. It was Sunday, but we were living together at the time then, and it was. I mean, there's such stories. So the first, actually, tell him on the back of that visit to me in the morning, there's a story behind that, and it involves a mode of transport.
Yeah.
A mode of transport. A mode
of transport. He'll tell you now about the mode of transport we used that night. Go on.
Well, I had to borrow I needed a mode of transport. I went to Pasha, and I think I took some window panes that night, didn't I, Brad? Took a little bit of acid on the night before. And we was in Pasha, partying and dancing away, and I wasn't really feeling it, so I thought, do you know what, I'll get myself off. And it's probably about 6, 7 in the morning, something like this. I went to get on my bike, and because my vision was so impaired, I kept jumping on the wrong bike, and I was getting a slap from like all these good-looking Italian boys outside going, "Get off me moped, get off it," in Italian. So I'll give it up as a bad idea. I thought, I'm never going to find mine. They all look exactly the same. I'm buzzing far too much here. I'll just start walking down the road. So I'm walking down the road, and I walked to Bar Stop, and Bar Stop was the first stopping place for the buses, and it was also a cafe. I just sort of stopped outside Bar Stop and thought, should I get myself a beer, or should I just carry on walking? And then out of nowhere, a bus pulled up next to me. The driver got out of the bus and went into the toilet. And I thought, this is manna from heaven. This is my bus. It was actually sent from heaven for me. So I proceeded to jump in the bus, and I drove it back to Ibiza town.
With passengers.
With passengers on board.
Wait, can you imagine this, right?
Wait, and high.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine this, right?
You got to touch the sky.
Then you think about this, right? You get a bus at Pasha, because don't forget, just outside Pasha was the bus stop, right? Back for people, just normal people going about their business. And it ran all night, that bus, from Slang. So the driver had obviously gone for a toilet. And then, can you imagine him ringing the bell for the stop? And he's like the train going, ding, 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 ding. Missed that one.
Start dancing to it.
You made it to the bus garage, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I drove to, it was very different back in those days. I got back to San Antonio, where all the fountains were and that. There were little pathways there, and I negotiated down. I crashed into a wall of a shop, jumped out of the bus, decided I needed vodka. So I went into this supermarket, got some vodka to try and quell my nerves after the hairy ride. And then I ran into Notwell Danielle. And Notwell Danielle went to me, just seen your mate Blocko. And I was like, oh, wicked, where is he? I'll take you up to him. He's looking for you, blah, blah, blah. So that's when I went and knocked on his door, and that part of the story came. It was a brief meeting. I was probably there half an hour, then got shot off.
Yes, we threw the beer on him.
Yeah. And then the Guardian took me away for a little bit. And then when I came back, I've been looking for Brandon because basically space had grown so big, and I was working there every day. It was taking its toll on me a little bit. And there was only one person I thought that could fit the bill of doing the job with me, that had the necessary credentials required to be in that environment at least 15 to 18 hours a day. There's only one person with a track record that had enough endurance and sustainability to take on the task. So I had to go and find the block. And then the rest was history, man.
You know what? Right, after because what Space used to do about 6 p.m, but maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, wherever it was, they used to have to shut, right, because of the licensing. They had to shut for a certain period of time. But they had these big shutters which used to come down over the bar. So I used to lay on the bar. And the electric shutters used to come down and shut on my stomach like this. And so they couldn't shut. They had to lift it up again. We go, one more. I remember one morning I was so taken back with the ambience and the sheer wonderfulness of the space. I started throwing my records out. Sharing the love, right? So I turned around about 10 minutes later and I'd given all my records away. So I asked someone to give me one to play one more, to get he handed me a record back. I played one more.
That's quite commonplace though, isn't it, Brian? That is it love, sharing.
You can't make stories up. That's the thing. You can't make these stories up. There's no way to make them up.
No. But space was tough. Leading up to that, I had the first year it didn't do very well at all, and I set it up with James Mitchell. And after the first year, I ended up having to buy him out. And in the second year, it started really escalating quick. And then before I knew it, because I was DJing inside as well, techno inside, and I come out on house music outside, I was DJing 12, 15 hours a day, every day, and also with the drinking, the socialising, and getting around about and a bit, it all became a little bit too much. And I think Brandon's arrival was God sent, to be honest with you, so he could share the burden.
Right, the burden of the stress of living through this.
Listen, you try going out 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's a burden. Yes. It's a burden.
It's surrounded by lovely young women, drinking, dancing, listening
to that burden. Music. So I'd work. We used to sleep about 2 days a month. It's not. You know what I mean? It's all great fun, but obviously, you don't realise what you're doing to yourself. I mean, oh God. At that time we found loads of little places, right? So you remember Kenya Bar? Right, so Kenya Bar used to be a minute little shack with a Spanish owner. And
seawater pool, didn't it?
Water pool, which was literally built on the edge of this rock down where the Kenya is, around the bay, around the other side of St. Anne. And literally, we'd walked out of someone's house. We'd stayed in the night. We didn't have one peseta between us, and we couldn't even talk because our mouths were so dry. So we managed to scrape together some fizzy water somewhere. So we walked up.
That's when we met Conbeard. Do you know it's Conbeard and Sinbeard?
You can't say that. Anyway, so we walked out Conbeard. So we you know what con means? Obviously, con means with, right? So with beard or without beard.
But we met two girls, and one was Conbeard and one was Sinbeard. I think it was just like I think it's a drugs to be.
We walked down this. We walked down the path. And you remember?
I'm really shocked. You remember all this, and clearly.
Yeah. They weren't good. Yeah, well, they just imprinted on your memory. But we walked to the end of this the path. Basically, it was a path. There, it was full of rocks, and we see this little shack. And we went in, and they opened all day, didn't they? So we spoke to the guy, and I can't remember his name, but
Wankle.
No, he weren't there yet. Crankle, he weren't there yet.
Oh, when you there yet? I thought it was something to do with Crankle, wasn't it?
No, it was like Miguel or someone, and he said, yeah, come in, drink beer. So we said, oh, we like this place, and we saw the pool, and we sat in the pool, and we thought, oh, we could come here in the daytime. So we started going there in the daytime instead of wherever else we was mucking about. And then people started coming to Kenya and come and sit around the pool. And then the year later, obviously there was loads of people started coming to the pool because we did drag a lot of people there, you know, Cafe Del Mar, and then they came to Kenya, they sat around the pool, and then the year after, our friend Crankle bought it, and then they turned the pool into a freshwater pool, and it heated, and the bar started expanding. And it was just being there and watching the sort of the way that the bar's built, as well as the island. And then obviously Mambo's opened, and we were firmly placed at the Cafe Del Mar and the Javier. We said, right, why don't we just buy that gaff?
We were going to buy Mambo before Javier bought it.
Oh,
really? We had people looking into it to us during the winter months, and Javier got a sniff of it and heard that we were looking to buy it and went in and gazumped it from underneath us. And he felt so guilty. That's why we had the run of the roost at that place.
Yeah, because
it would have been our bar. And to be fair, it's probably a good thing we didn't buy it, because I don't think we'd be here now, would we?
I made a good move, a very good strategic move by Javier. And
to save our lives.
He said to us, look, just come and stay here. You can have your run of the place, and just if you can invite your friends. And so we did, and we started inviting everyone. And oh God, I remember one year we had in '93 because Cafe Del Mar was just obviously the Cafe Del Mar, which was the place to watch the sunset. And then Mambo's opened, but we were still living above the Cafe Del Mar. We had the whole floor, right? Floor 3. I won't tell you what one on there, but it was bedlam. It was actually madness. And we used to come down and then walk across the Mambo's, and it just evolved. And people, DJs come in there, and then they used to play the music, and
Hang on. What happened in level 3 above Cafe?
Oh my God! Too many man.
We know what happened with Javier, and we know what
goes on level 3 stays on level 3.
Was it truly what I remember, the red light district?
All the lights were broken.
The thing was that we have to also remember, Lenny, back in those days, there was no mass of people.
No.
There was one bar, and that was Cafe Del Mar. And it was very hedonistic, and it was only kind of like the place that the people, locals knew about it, obviously, but very few Brits knew about it. And it was very quiet, and it was like a getaway from everything place. Do you remember the big float in the water as well, Brandon, outside the front of the building? We used to swim out to him and lie on that float. Chester and everybody. Do you remember Nicky Holloway?
I tell you what, one of our little idiosyncrasies, let's say, was because each year, right? Because we like to have fun, so each year there would be a Lilo, right? So this year the best Lilo was the Cadillac, pink blow-up Cadillac with the drink.
Oh, we had Lilo competitions.
We used to drive around the island individually and try and find the best Lilo, right? And then come back to our little place where we were staying and sit in our pool with our Lilos. So one year we saw someone with an island. And we thought,
do you remember?
We've got to get the island. We find the island. So we searched the island for the island, the blow-up island. We found it. And we blew it up and anchored it outside Mambo's. And the way our staff were bringing us pina coladas through the sea. And we were sitting on the island, blow-up island.
But when you bought the pink Cadillac, it was brilliant, Brad. Do you remember the Cadillac? It must have been a good 5 meters long, this Cadillac, and it was a Lilo. And you kind of sat in it like it was a car. We'd be floating about outside Mambo in this big pink Cadillac in the sea.
I
wish there'd be pictures from that stuff. Forget about the club pictures. I
wish we had a picture. Do you know what, though? I remember that. I did have... I used to have this camera which had never left my side, and we were saying, Alex, if they had social media at the time, oh my God, because we were asked at MTV. We did the first festival in Ibiza, which was the MTV festival. We played on that, and then there was all the festivals, the actual the festivals which the Italians used to do, which were the Tribe, and you weren't invited unless you had the rock invite, and that was in the quarries. It was so cool. And
brilliant time. See, there wasn't a lot of English people about back in the earlier days. Well, I think we're quite responsible of bringing out most of those masses. It was a lot of Dutch, weren't there? Germans, French were quite prominent over there as well.
Yeah,
and there was only a few English out there, not as many as what we're used to now. And I think that me and Brandon had a different mentality when we went out there. A lot of people went out there and wanted to take something away from the island, whereas we went there because we thought we could add to the madness of the island. And I think we did quite a good job of it, to be fair.
I think you did. And I talk about this many times too. When I first went there, I was hired by Spanish. There was not many English at that time.
No.
Not at all.
No, not really at all.
But I remember right outside Pasha, looking across at the water where El Divino was, it was all sand. There was nothing there. There was none of those luxury buildings. Nothing was around.
No, nothing.
It was called something before El Divino's in, because what was his name? Oh God, our friend. What was his name? Who owned it? Oh man, you remember him, Alex? Come on, man.
What was that, dude?
Who owned El Divino's? What was his name?
The Egyptian fella.
Khalid.
Oh wait, you like
Khalid
and chocolate?
Yes.
Yes. Because you had to go to his house.
Yes. I always went to his house.
That's right. It's a crazy house.
Before it was called something different. I can't remember what it was called.
Let me ask you a question, guys. This is something that I always thought about because I hung out there and worked at the El Divino. Did you all think that there was some money washing going on? Because he always had so many these boat yachts coming in with these people from the Middle East. And I kept thinking, what the hell's going on here? Because this is not about making money at this club. This guy's got this beautiful house up in the mountain.
Yeah.
Is he washing this money? Is he cleaning money for his...
Well, the maths didn't make sense in the old days, did it? You had these big, wonderful, beautiful clubs with maybe 500 people, 600 people, which have got, 5,000 people in it now.
Yeah.
The 500 people are having the time of their life. And,
I always found that strange, because Coup was like the biggest club in Europe and it could hold 10,000 people. And
try and get 20,000.
Yeah.
And don't forget, though, but you see, the thing about Ibiza back then was only one night a week. One club had one night a week, right? So it was a rota. So you'd go, Mondays would be Mad on Mondays with Tommy Mac and Alan, right, at Pasha. Tuesday would be Amnesia, where we'd play. And then one year, I remember, because the year after Space obviously took off properly, then all the promoters hadn't really started coming yet. It was still people just putting little parties on, but obviously hiring the clubs. And the clubs were giving them good deals, and they asked me and Alex to basically play every night of the week. And so we started playing every night of the week, and the big clubs. So Monday, Pasha, Tuesday, Amnesia, then Wednesday was Escapades, obviously, then Thursday was Coup, and then Friday was wherever else.
We all on a rota, didn't we? All the clubs on the rota.
And then Saturday night, what used to happen Saturday night was everyone used to stay in because they wanted to get up early for Space on Sunday. And it was just incredible.
Space was revolutionary, though. It's the first sort of known to masses after hours starting club. It was famous for starting 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning. Everyone's
open air. There was no roof on it. A bit of netting, and you used to sit. The planes used to come over at certain intervals, and it was like everyone used to put their arms up. It was like the signature was the planes coming over a space.
People thought I paid the airport, didn't they, for the planes to come over? They thought I instigated it.
There was no DC-10 yet.
No DC-10.
I'll tell you what, did you ever meet Roberto and Ernesto? Because Roberto and Ernesto, right? Ernesto runs Music On, right? With Marco, who used to run Music On. And then Roberto, his brother, used to run clubs together. So we had Space. And then across the road in Bora Bora, because Bora Bora wasn't in there yet. And I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. there was Tahiti Bar, which is next to Bora Bora. So Tahiti Bar was owned by Ernesto and Roberto, and then they invited us, obviously, from Space. So when Space finished at 4 or 5, everyone would just go across the road to Tahiti Bar. And I was going to tell you a story about that. But, and so Roberto and Ernesto did another after Space Club on a beach, which was at not Quetzal, what was it called? It was on the way to DC-10. Do you remember the one in Sleathers, the one that used to stop on the long bit of
Zenith Bar.
Zenith, that's right. But what was that area? That was called.
Look, I forgot about the Zenith Bar.
Yeah, exactly. But just before that, Brandon was right. There was one called Tahiti. And what they've done is they just bought that beach bar, didn't they? Because remember we smashed it up, Brandon?
Literally.
Yeah, no, we did smash it. We raced it to the ground.
Because they said that there was the last season, the rent had run out, so we just had the last day together, me, Alex, Robert, Ernesto, and then Baggy, and just took the place apart, basically. Just, took a bit to mementos.
That was a lot of fun, that was, wasn't it, Brian, smashing that up. And then we went to the Zenith Bar, which was the one on the beach, which was the first real thing, wasn't it? Zenith.
Yeah. And after that, all the clubs, obviously, because promoters had arrived and the people were coming in droves to the island, and clubs were opening 5 nights a week, and each night was busy in their own right. So all the clubs were busy all the time. And then there was no real need for sort of beach parties as such. But obviously Bora Bora, Tahiti had shut down. And then this, my mate Max, Max's Italian guy, he... basically, I walked over on Bora Bora Beach after Space one day. I was wandering on my own. I was like, didn't know what to do. And I saw this little shack, a little wooden shack, right? And I saw this Italian guy undoing the padlock. And I went and said, what are you doing, mate? And he said, and swinging from the front of the shack was a little sign saying Bora Bora, right? And he pulled the front of the shack up like they're doing Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. And it was a little bar. And that was Bora Bora. And I sat there all afternoon with him, having a right laugh. And then, obviously, the years came and they built Bora Bora into the incredible thing that it was for the years. And Tahiti Bar was still there, but not doing anything. And then Jet Apartments, it built like Dubai, really. I mean, it was like incredible.
It was a fast turnaround, wasn't it, Brent? Unbelievably quick. The difference just every year, there was massive changes.
Well, I'll tell you where the change happened. The change happened when Mixmag went out there and they started writing all these articles about all
100%.
That was a big game changer, because I remember everybody going, nobody really knew about Ibiza except the inside of us, okay?
Yeah.
We're being invited to play from the Italians and the Spanish. Then all of a sudden, a couple of the English promoters decided, let's start some nights over there and pull some people. And then when Mixmag got there and started flashing you guys and flashing Carl Cox, Oakenfold, and all these pictures coming, mayhem began. That I remember.
Carl used to play inside Space, and then he'd come out and play on the terrace with us. And we had Sasha there, and because obviously they're all our mates. We were saying, come and play at Space, and everyone couldn't wait to play at Space. I mean, Dave played, Morales played, and everyone.
We had a great connection with the Germans as well, didn't we, Brand? We had Sven Vath, do you remember? Mark came in. And, sorry?
Westbam
came in there. They all came in, Cosmic Baby. And as a result of that, because I was playing tech house inside and techno inside, I ended up touring a lot of Germany and Europe, playing techno sets with those guys. And I had the time of my life. Sven's man.
It's very interesting you bring this up. You mentioned the names, all the names. Now, you just went about 7 different types of genres. You didn't just say we're going to have this one type of genre. You brought talent that you believed in.
100%. Yeah, these incredible people that could do a job, do you know what I mean? Wherever you put them. I mean, that's what DJing was about then, wasn't it? Right. People weren't sure what they're going to get, and you had to supply. Well,
I want you to clarify that to these younger people that are watching, because part of them think it's about the classing. It's for us.
About
the person. The person, how great what the jobs they did. Didn't make a difference with the music they played. It was how good they were at their craft. And I knew that was a big thing with all of you. You classed it that way. Was it, because he played cool music? You knew he could rock the place. That's why you brought these people, you know?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun as well. You could diversify quite a bit as well, from your tech house to your Balearic beat to your disco, your funk, and all around. We had so much fun, didn't we, Brand? I mean, we used to play 10, 12 hours, didn't we, straight out on the terrace, and it was just a musical journey every time that we used to like whip people up with. It's so much fun, man.
It was an incredible time, but obviously, it got the better of me eventually. So
Well, that's what the next question is going to start to go. How long could you stay on that high before you?
I got really ill. I got really ill in '95 in one of my escapades abroad, and I caught a few illnesses, which. And they actually sent me home in '96. They sent me home from Ibiza. All them lot said, right, get me on a plane and get him home. And I came home and I went to hospital that year at '96. I went into a detox, and I haven't gone back since. So but it came with consequences. But I mean, I'm very thankful and grateful I'm here today. It was definitely a ride, a journey, and we're still here 30 years later. 30 years, it's a lifetime.
I know. I got news for you. There's some people that are not making it to that age. Could you imagine getting back to when this started? Holy smoke, here we are 3 decades later and still discussing it like it was as fresh as it was yesterday.
You see, the thing about that, though, dance music, as in dance music, the way we call it, let's say so, the scene, it's transcended. It's gone. So, for instance, you went back to the 70s, there was a certain style which was having it like disco, and the 80s was probably new romantic, more pop music, electronic music, and the 90s, by 88 it started, and now it's become music. The way it's become everything, people get dance mixes done, people have remixes done, artists of all genres are getting, mixes done to because people generally go to clubs, they want to go out, and people want to go out, and that's what. So it's great, man. It's
Did I put you off? Did I put you off my wave? My demi wave.
It's good though, everybody. Everybody, hello. So
96 come up on my screen, give us a wave, and I didn't see who it was. So I just did my little wave.
96. So 1996 was a game changer for you. You decided to detox. Where do you go? I mean, Alex, you're still going strong. I know you're playing that time.
It was a really, really hard time. You can't believe it was. It was very frustrating for me as well, as much as it was painful to see what Brandon was going through. And what kind of really emphasised it at the time, like an understanding, was he was in the Nightingale Charter and near Marylebone Station, when it, Brandon, do you remember? And I hadn't seen Brandon, and I was, we had so much going on. So we were right at the big time. We were like, everyone wanted a piece of us. And I knew Brandon was in a bad way, and we'd all advise him to go and get the help and push him that direction. And then when he got taken in, I remember I went to the hospital, and I'd cycled then. I just 2 minutes before had a bit of road rage with a cabbie outside the building, literally. So I've gone in there, and Brandon's sitting there waiting for me, exactly all arranged. And I've gone in, I'm quite boisterous and that, full of myself. And all of a sudden, the nurse has got to take Brandon out of the room. And I was like, what's going on? And he goes, you're too hyper, you're too full on, you can't see him in that state. He's got to be relaxed. You remember, Brandon, they took me out of the room, and I had to go away and come back. And when I actually went away, I was really, really angry. Then it kind of made me realise how probably fragile Brandon was at that time with what was going on. So it was a really hard time for me, because I was really worried about him, but also really caught up in this frustration of we've got so much going on, so much ahead. What do I do? Because it was always known as me and Brandon doing this, me and Brandon doing the other. From everything, from the radio, from gigging, from rocking up to present MTV awards and all and whatever. It was.
So people want to ask this question: was it truly Rockstar lifestyle and money at that time?
Beyond anything? We used to read everyone's autobiography and go rubbish. Throw it on the side, but 1 bottle of vodka a day. When I went to get my heart problem sorted out, I spoke to my the surgeon who was going to do the thing, and he said, "Oh, you've had a bit of a misspent youth in Ibiza." And he goes, "Can you give me a little history so I know what I'm dealing with here?" And he said, "On drugs and drinks when you was in Ibiza." And I went, "Yeah, of course I will." I goes, "Probably 6-7 pints of lager, better part of a bottle of vodka,
How much is the
ecstasy tablets."
A full bottle or half a bottle?
A bottle of vodka, yeah, a whole bottle of vodka would be gone. Within hours. A few ecstasy tablets, and then probably some Charlie to go with that. And he'd say, "What would that be? A week, 2 weeks, a month?" I'll say, "No, that'd be a Monday after space." So that gives you an idea. That was commonplace. That was weekly.
You made Keith Richards look like a priest.
Oh, you better believe it. We caned it. We took it to another level. I promise you. A lot of people that was around us that time will vouch for us.
I know that. I know
the dealers, Brandon. They'd vouch for it. We knocked everyone.
It was, but the thing about it was, and I think you'll be the same, and I'm sure most of the PJs back then would be, we didn't see it coming. It wasn't like, wasn't something we aspired to be like that. It just happened. It was like being at the right place at the right time, and very fortunate that we were able to play music to people who were just out there for the music, and it wasn't really, I suppose the money and the other stuff was just there. It was like part of what was going on at the time. So it's not like, because there's no social media, there's no mobile phones. I remember, how funny is this? I remember because I used to pop back to England, and then when mobile phones started, I used to bring them out in the summer and bring like one for Alex, and I'd have the newest one each week. And I remember once before, I said, "Look at this blower." I brought this to the Nokia. What was it called? Anyway, it was the metal one which slid up. It was like metal, and it was fantastic. So I brought it out, went, "Have a look." And we walked between Mambo's and Kenya. I'd lost it. I was holding it in my hand, and we were talking. And by the time we got over there, gone. So that was just the sort of, mayhem we was dealing with.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Now you're making me remember this. I'm at Pike's Hotel. Tony Pikes. Todd Terry comes in with this Ericsson phone, the small one, remember?
Yeah.
But in the back of the phone had like a cement block battery. I said to him, "Why?" He says, "So this thing doesn't die for 3 days." The little phone with like this, it was this big, the friggin' battery. I'm gonna forget. I was like, we were talking about phones. That was the big thing. "Hey, Blanco, what phone you have?" "I got the Nokia." And this one, we will all be comparing our phones. And yours work in America? "No, it only works over here."
Yeah, remember that GSM? You got to get a new phone that works on the AAC network.
Yes, I remember that. Oh my God, the GSM phones. Yes.
Back then, right? So when we sort of space, not fizzled out, but they started bringing big promoters. So that's when We Love Sundays come in, and me and Alex is sort of worn out. But then we did 6 years of Space, and nearly every day, really. And then there's loads of other things going on the island. So our friend John Davis used to do the 1830s parties, and they were really big in the zoo, which is now the Zoo Project and everything else, so they used the park. And they used to put us up. We used to just choose where we wanted to stay. So each week we'd come and we'd go stay in the Pike, we'd stay in Victoria, which I don't even know if they're still. But before Pass was built and all the big hotels. But those were like the best hotels in the island, and we used to be put up there every week. So we had some fantastic times at Pikes. And do you remember our sword fight? Oh man,
Pikes.
So no, well, what was we were sitting at the dinner table in Pikes, and we'd just been. We think we'd been out for a few days, and there was a couple of épées on the wall. Épée is it's a sword with a cover, and we decided that we'd have a sword fight, and we took the swords off the wall, and he cut my arm, I cut his arm, and we were actually properly fighting. And then it strayed into the car park, and then we thought we'd take it so we took the swords with us to Mambo's, and we started fighting outside Mambo's, and it was like a comedy, like, Laurel Hardy film.
Swashbuckling, wasn't it, Brand? Swashbuckling.
But through it, like if you was filming it, it would go like Johnny Depp. It was like the Pirates of the Caribbean. It was through Mambo's, through exactly. And then it would turn to lightsabers. We had the lightsaber day as well.
Oh my God. We've had loads of cuts all over us, do you remember? All up our arms and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We earned good money out of it as well at the time, which was nice. Like Brandon said, that wasn't the incentive at all. We weren't.
No, it was never the incentive. Money was not the incentive at that time.
No, 100% not. It was the enjoyment and being able to pass that enjoyment on. And, in a strange way, the new generation of DJs that come through us probably learned a lot from our mistakes and became like a business out of it, and looked at it from a different angle and thought, there's money and a business to be made here. Whereas we didn't really. We kind of like done it for the love, and things just moved into a different area each time, kind of organically.
Did you ever both think that there was a business of it, or was it just having
fun? We were too busy having fun, to be honest with you, a lot of the time, and didn't want it to end. And we both had this idea that we weren't going to actually live that long at the time. We both had that impregnated into our minds. And
Rockstar thought process there.
Yeah, I think it probably was, actually. I've got absolutely no regrets. I'm not saying this with regret in any shape or form.
I was going to ask you. The next question, was there any regrets to this?
No, not in any shape or form. And, I look back at every day that we had as brilliant, and I wouldn't do anything different. And a lot of doors that, maybe we could have opened for ourselves. We were lucky enough to open for other people and help other people on the way. And no any regrets at all, really. And nothing. I just had such a great time with it, and just blessed I had the chance to do it, especially with Brandon as well. I had a bit of a soulmate in with me.
Yeah, mate, it was definitely a duo. And I think I had one regret. I think it's probably because I think what I realise now is at that time, although it was great fun, I probably didn't like myself very much deep down, because that's why I went hell bent. I mean, I could never change what we did, and it was so incredible. And I have such fond memories, all the ones we can remember. But it was just to be part of that and to be in that place and in the scene at the time, and being able to just play the music you want. And then, one thing I realised recently was, and it's only recently I started doing this. I was talking to a friend. I did this thing called goal mapping. It's like life coaching, and I do a lot of work with people who have trouble, And I was talking to this guy who taught me this model, and he was saying, he was an ex-DJ as well, and he was saying, I've noticed myself listening to the words of the music now, whereas back then we would go to crescendos and piano riffs and big hooks, and underneath all that, a lot of that house music is beautifully written songs, and all have a meaning. It's all about love. And it's only more recent years I've been listening to the words and thinking, oh wow, like Sterling Void and Cincy Rogers and Marshall and Farley and all the DJ National crew, and they all wrote songs which had a meaning. And back then, if you listen to the words, I mean, obviously, Alice Limerick, like Where Love Lives and all that sort of stuff, it was you sung. You'd watch people on the dance hall trying to sing the vocals with not knowing the words. Where love lives, and then you actually read the words, and it's a beautiful song.
They're gorgeous songs. They had meaning.
They did, and they wrote. And I went on the show I did one morning with Marshall and Farley. It was incredible, and they talked about the history of house music, and it was called house music because it was made in their house. They used to make the music in their house. That's what they were saying. We called it house music because we played it at home. It was like something we used to make. And, and Marshall Jefferson, he's got, how many bands has he produced? How many?
Yeah, he's a lot of stuff.
You just don't realise. And all that stuff has been written, 10 City and all the wonderful music we had back in then. It's just incredible. Wonderful.
So
we're blessed with the whole thing.
Now let me give you the hard question. So you guys are superstar rock stars, okay?
No.
Magazines have you plastered in the middle, the front. You haven't been to Ibiza unless you experience these two guys. When does that thing come crashing and burning, like to the point where it just stops? You know, because everybody has that moment in their lives where the thing is so on the high, the euphoric high, but yet we have that moment where it drops down. When was that change that happened for you two?
Oof.
Well, for me, look, I know when I sort of had that sort of, let's say crash, that sort of thing happened. And for me, I think I'm not knocking technology. I'm not knocking, moving forward. I think you have to embrace the future, and it's fantastic. But on a personal level, I think when CDs started and vinyl becomes, the internet's available, and then the tunes you used to go and search for, and you'd hear a record, or you'd go and buy a record because you thought, oh, no one's going to have this. I'm going to play this tune, which is going to make everyone so happy and fantastic. And then now it's, look, it is what it is. But that for me, when you used to pick those tunes out, you think this is my signature tune, or something that I know when I play on Space Terrace is going to go through the roof. I used to sing Rapper's Delight on Sundays, and I used to get a 15-minute version.
That's what he calls it, Lenny. He calls it singing.
I want to know. Wait, I want him to define that singing.
Define it. You use that very loosely. That term.
That's a term that's used very loosely when you said singing.
I used to talk Rapper's Delight.
There's one thing I'd like to say before we move on, actually, if you wouldn't mind me saying this, man. We were also blessed with an entourage of people at the time, going back to all this fun and games that we had, like Marcus, like Baggy, like your Johnny Max. And we had this little entourage of people around us that made every day so much more fun and so much more interactive. So we were never sort of like superstars or rock stars, as you say, on our own. We always had a collective with us that kept it sustainable as well.
Right, Mixmag and DJ did that. Those magazines help, glorify the island as its paradise, hidden away in the gem of the Balearic area with DJs like yourself that were already doing things way before they got there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I knew that. We all knew that. But until the masses, now everybody who works at every job is saying, I'm going to get my 2 weeks. I'm going to that island to go full on. You guys started in April and ended in October.
Yeah.
So preparation starts in April.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I did my residency, I got there end of May.
Yeah.
September. And
we were watching Space then.
Right.
We were painting Space in April.
We were painting the place. Painting the place.
Painting white.
It's lovely in April, and then and the season. What happened was the season got longer, and then obviously everyone planned their year around Ibiza. It was like I can't wait to go there. So everyone would arrive in April and start looking for jobs and work, and it was great. Yeah, sorry, you're right to mention all our little firm at the time. We used to have a football team called the Dream Team.
Oh gosh, football, man. We had Nutbag FC as well. Do you remember Nutbag FC?
FC, yeah, that was our name. We started this sort of language, right? And this one night, oh my God, you have to be in the moment. You got to realise this. So me and Alex had. It was around the time when I remember Bruno and Tyson were fighting, right? The first one, I think it was, because I think it was around '94. So we'd been out and we decided we needed a night off. So we went back to our friend's villa, and I remember the Formula One was on, right? So we was 2 sheets to the wind, and we were sitting watching Formula One, and all of a sudden we were in the race. It was like, going through that, and I said, "Oh, you can't go through there." And then we started this language called and everyone knows to hold tight. We say, hold tight. And it became like fairground speak. So it was about, it's hard to explain. So this is where nutbag came from, right? So we said, that's too tight. You can't get through there. Thinking about we're in a Formula One car with one person as passenger, but also transferring to a fairground ride where you're allowed 2 or 3 people in a car. So we said, you can't hold tight now. You can't get through there. What are you, nuts? And then it became, we're in a nut bag, right? What are you, nuts? You can't get, only 2 nuts allowed in a bag. We had this fairground tour, 2 riders, fast riders only, 1 way round. And we went out the next night and we played in, was it Simples at the time? Anyway, they had the boxing on was like 5 a.m. So we was in there all night, obviously. And then we got on the mic and we started this hold tight thing. And it just carried on for the whole, so everyone was going, hold tight now, hold tight now.
It became a pirate term, didn't it? Hold tight now.
And nutbag became the word of the summer. Nutbag. No, you nutbag. And then the word the year after was top of the pops. TOTP, mate. TOTP. And everyone was saying TOTP. Oh, man. Did Alex tell you about that time when he found Red Bull? He found Red Bull, right?
Oh, yeah.
Red Bull was nothing.
Opportunity.
It was an Austrian caffeine drink, and he went to Austria to do a gig in where one of the techno parties, and he came back the next day with these 2 little bottles of. He said, "God, this stuff's mental." And so he had one each with vodka, and he just went, "Oh my God, that's what it's called, Red Bull." And then he said, "I'm going to order a crate." And they started hearing about Red Bull, and then obviously, that's. So I'll hold you responsible for that.
Oh, mate, that's funny. Yeah, we tried to import it at the time, Lenny, but it was it was too much taurine and caffeine for the English market. But we didn't really understand about watering it down and that, and missed out on a golden opportunity there. Is what it is. That was with Alex, wasn't it, in Vienna?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, you guys are coming off that. You're coming back to England in the winter and you're playing gigs all over Europe and stuff. And I know that you guys were working because everybody wants a piece of the action.
Well, the thing was, when I originally sort of uprooted and went to go to Ibiza, like I said, we had kind of had the mindset of taking something to Ibiza. I didn't want to go there and take away what was going there. And I was already successful in the UK. I had residencies for Astoria, Limelight, Legends. Things that I gave up to go to Ibiza. And, because we basically smashed out of the park at Ibiza, I walked straight back into a lot of these residencies for the winter months. And like I said, I also met up with like the mad techno German gang and that, and they took me under their wing, and I was residency in Switzerland at a club called Tarot. We get to play like Frankfurt, Dorian Gray. I've done most of Europe and Italy, and so it was just full on. It was non-stop when it ran. And Brandon just came back to England, just killed England, took over England pretty much. And while I was doing a bit of globetrotting, I think Brandon's probably played every single square foot of dance floor in the UK at least twice.
Thrice.
Go ahead.
No, I just used to make this language up. I remember actually once DJ Mag, right, said, because the DJ Mag followed us around from 93 till 95, I think, or something like that. They had buses come over with, it was mental what was going on. And, what was it? My mind escapes me. It was about, we had this. So DJ Mag said, can you and Alex write, I suppose like now it would be a, what's the word? What's that, the street, what's the language they call now? It's like street language. It's a new diary. There's a new, a slang diary. It's like basically slang. Said, write me your language, because we had so many different, you know.
Definitely, they wanted you to define each phrase.
Yeah. Like they kind of caught on, didn't they? Loads of them caught on. I mean, Hold Tight was a really big one. That became like on every pirate radio station. Go, Hold Tight, now.
And then Let's Have It was the first one because
we done it in a French accent, didn't we? Let's Have It.
So we had our first,
the Urban Dictionary of the times.
Yeah, we did. And the radio show helped that as well because we threw it out there and it caught on, didn't it? Quite a bit of it, really, Brand.
The first album we did, because our friend Dave Roberts, who said to us, "Can we mix this album?" We mixed it in a cupboard, in Ibiza, and it was called Let's Have It. Was it Having It? Was it?
No, Having It.
Having It. It was called Having It, the album, right? And we mixed it in a cupboard, and and the front of the album was us two going, "Come on, wakey, wakey, let's have it." And then a cocktail went, it was fantastic. And it puts the cornflakes on it.
Hang on. What do you think was the most diabolical change you two did to the island that changed everything?
Diabolical change. Ooh.
I don't think there's got anything diabolical about it.
No, but I'm saying it in the sense of everybody wanted to try to copy it. You know, you start saying, "You shits copying our stuff." Like, what was that moment? Is this something you did that everybody was trying to become part of, you know? Because you know how business, if somebody sees one do it, they all want to copy it.
Yeah. I don't think we ever thought always copying us. I thought we just embraced the fact that people enjoyed coming along for the fun. But I don't think anyone copied as such. But I mean, everyone spoke that madness for pretty much every summer. I mean, like, you know. There was one summer the chocolate Lumumba was the drink of the day, right? So
that was quite deadly, wasn't it? It put a stone on everyone, didn't it, Brandon?
Well,
I thought of it now. You know, the funny thing was the name of it, though, was it the name of the chocolate? It was called Batty Ram.
Batty Ram, yes. Take what you will from that.
There's a little glass bottle with chocolate in it, and it's called Batty Ram. And you'd have like a triple brandy, wouldn't you? Like that, with chocolate in it. And it became the drink of the summer. And to be fair, it made everyone spotty, everyone fat. But we just peer pressured everyone into drinking it, didn't we?
Who came up with that drink?
Yeah, La Mumba.
It's been a Spanish drink for years, I think. And they also have another little one in the morning, which is called Calajillo, which is a coffee and brandy.
Yeah, Calajillo.
Calajillo.
What about down in Ibiza town? You would get those little after dinner drinks. What the hell they call them again? Cotero or Coturo? Those little
shots. That's the coffee, the small one, the Coturo. It's like a and a shot of brandy. It's like the morning of a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Along this way, were you getting big remix work? Because you know how the industry is. They look at you guys because you guys are the DJs of the moment. Like, what's going on? Oh shit! Let's get at it.
We weren't very good at that, to be honest.
Notice how they stop and go.
Well, look, do you remember this, right, Lenny? Talking about remixes, we had a few remixes. We got a couple of acetates. I've still got some acetates in there, what we did, but they weren't fantastic. But the first time I met you, right, this is was in the Andy, who owns the radio station, Alex Worthwhite, is in his studio, the bunker next to PWL in London. And you came walking down the stairs, and I went and we met, didn't we? That was that was like, well, how many years ago? So it's a small world, man. But yeah.
You know what, Rocco? Andy Swallow told me he's actually found that remix that we've done. And
which one? Mandy Smith?
Radio show. It was Mandy Smith, wasn't it? I just can't wait.
Yo, dude, that's around 94.
But he had the Labello records. And,
everyone listen to me clearly. That's around 1994.
It's got to be 94. It's got to be around 94.
Around that time. Around
definitely.
I actually hung out.
A few mixes.
We hung out and we really got to know each other. Not like, hey, in a club and we're playing, but really got to talk.
Yeah.
I think the most prolific, well, I say prolific, but the remix that was probably you'd say was a good one to remix was Black Sheep. We got to ask to remix Black Sheep. I think it was.
Oh, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? North, south, east, west. It was like a hip hop track, wasn't it?
West, yes, that was it, man.
Yeah.
What was your studio sessions like? Because we know your DJing sets are like. What was that like?
Just bad. Just a lot of visits to the pub.
They weren't very long, mate. They weren't very long.
I don't think we took it seriously enough at the time, did we, Brand? It was just like it seemed a bit of an ordeal at the time because we both weren't really focused and there was just too much going on at that point, wasn't there, really? With the radio, with the travelling. Yeah. I think later on, I've enjoyed studio time a lot more now in the last decade.
More relaxed, focused. You're in a different headspace. Back then, you were not the same guy as you are now. You were out of control. You were different that time. I remember that. Very different. You know, it was a party atmosphere, and everything about it was partying. You know, and all of us felt that way back then. We were all happy with this music, and music was one part of it. Then, of course, the camaraderie of all of us getting together and, you know, doing it. And especially, I remember all you guys were so complimentary to us Americans with the dance music. You were so happy that we were coming over. You couldn't help us enough, you know, with gigs and stuff. It was like that. It was a family vibe. You weren't in competition with us. You were happy to be bringing us to the country. You wanted to expose that sound in the UK and Europe. It wasn't the other way around. It wasn't like shut them down.
I think the UK embraced American music and, you know, house music a lot more than America did at the time.
Oh, God. 100,000 times more.
Massively so. But it was a lifestyle, Lenny. The whole thing was a lifestyle. It wasn't it wasn't a fad or a fantasy. People lived, you know, I remember going out clubbing every day of my life. So at some point, going to a different club in the UK or Ibiza. It was all year round. It was just like like-minded people, music, coming from different countries, different views, cultures. Everyone embodied, embraced the culture of music and house music for what it was. Like a tribal gathering, if you like.
Pretty much so. That's exactly it, in a nutshell.
Yeah. And it's just a joy to be part of that when you think about it.
But don't forget, this was all spanking, shiny, and brand new. It was never before.
No.
Nothing like this existed. Yes, disco happened, but this house music thing, acid house, to house music and tech, this was never before. So what we were doing, we were writing history and not even realizing it. We were just doing it. You know, even all what you guys did. You were having the times of your lives. Yes, you were caning it. Yes, you went crazy. But you never thought you were making history. You just were doing something you enjoyed and loved. Yeah. And everybody joined along?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you said F them. I remember. You would go like that. Follow me?
Wow. And also the friendships, you know, like, you know, only earlier I was talking to Tall Paul, you know, and a lot of jocks have become really good friends of mine. And, you know, even the ones I don't see for a year or so, I still can just gel when I see them. It's, you know, we're all part of that history and that culture, like the Clockwork Boys, Danny, Andy, friends, you know. Well, we got them the first start in Ibiza at Clockwork Orange, you know, done the introductions for their first 16 night in Ibiza and the start of it all.
See, that this is what I've been waiting to hear. Who you know, helped grandfather into these places because somebody needed someone to open those doors. It just didn't happen on their own. You know, trailblazers. So you brought Clockwork Orange. Who else did you bring into the island that was fresh?
I think Money Pennies came through sort of loosely through us speaking to them. They was at El Divino, weren't they? I mean, the Ministry were huge back then, obviously, and defected, and
No, haven't yet. Ministry did.
No, Ministry, and then Def. David had Def Jam. Def Mix, sorry.
We had Cream as well. We did a lot of residencies for people. So that helped them into the clubs, didn't it?
God's Kitchen
residence. Yeah. We remember we were actually the first residents of Gatecrasher up in Sheffield.
Ooh.
It went really hard, yeah. Simon used to run that. We used to run Decadence on a Wednesday night in Birmingham.
Oh my God, I remember him. Yeah, Andy Wood's old spot. Yeah, Decadence in Birmingham.
Yeah, and then we were playing quite tough in those days, weren't we, Brand? For a period of our time, but then Hard House came in. It was a little bit too soulless for me, Hard House, and I couldn't really stay in that environment. And they tangented off into the Hard House thing, also for
and let's not forget, everyone, handbag music.
Handbag House. We used to just make them up, me and Brandon, didn't we? Every month we'd make up a new handbag house, funky house.
What is Handbag House? I have no idea what that is.
Ladies come in with these little handbags, and they would drop them down and dance around their bag.
Quality.
I don't remember that in Ibiza. They'd be all over the place.
No, that in the UK it was. I don't remember seeing that in Ibiza, but that would be, these little women come in with their handbags, drop the bag down, and dance around the bag.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, we was also residents at a lot of clubs back in the UK, weren't we, Bran? All different things. I was lucky enough to own the Velvet Rooms as well. I bought the Velvet Underground from...
you did Velvet for a while.
Paul Saunders, Dizzy. And we had a lot of fun running that gaff. That was crazy time. We actually had a couple of big birthday parties. We had Coxey's birthday in there, didn't we? We had, was it Darren's party? Was it Darren Emerson or Sasha's birthday party? And
Darren and Sasha, yeah.
Yeah, we had, that was the start of Ultimate Bass, Coxey's night. That was the start of Swerve, Fabio and Groove Riders. What was the Monday? The Monday was Lawrence and that, Trade. That's where they started, weren't they? Trade was a Monday night at Velvet.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they owned the egg. We had Friday was the Problem Kids, Rocky and Diesel.
Yeah. Mark Wilkinson.
Yeah, that's it.
Mark Wilkinson, yes.
Yeah, so, I've hung out with all these people, had the joy of being part of a lot of different people's stories on the way through.
I see that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a collective, really. Should go around with a little cap and get some money off them all, shouldn't we, Brad?
Yeah, I was going to say, get the hat out.
Thanks, right.
Collections.
Yeah.
So now we're at this time of your lives, and I know both of you have accomplished and survived all the mayhem. I know you're running Center Stage. You talk about the radio and Loco. What the hell are you going to be doing now? Since we're getting ready to DJ again, what's on the way forward?
Well, I sort of do a lot of. I do stuff with mental health and supporting people. And at the moment, I'm working for a charity who we support vulnerable people who have problems, basically. And so I sort of, because obviously I have my own experience of that sort of world. So I focus a bit on that. Obviously, I can't wait to get out DJing again. I'm actually a bit nervous, in all honesty. I think it's just
a really good question. This is a really important question for people who are ex-users. And our world is based around alcohol and a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
How do you not partake, being that it's something that's easily accessible and thrown in?
When I made that decision in '96, something clicked in my head and it went, I've no need for this anymore. And then the journey after that was more about dealing with stuff that comes up for me. My underlying emotions and I suppose you could call it trauma if you want to use that word. But I had no desire to. I'd lost all obsession about that. It wasn't doing, it made me ill. I was ill. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It got to a place where I was really, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to just sort of stop that at that time, because it was, very near. I wasn't going to be here, So it's doable. I mean, you have to come to a point in your life when you can make that decision, and it's difficult for people to understand that. And I want people to know that there's lots of support out there now, and people are aware of it. Lenny, this is the thing. We know that's there. We know that's part of life, and if it gets to a stage where it gets too much, please reach out. And
Well, we also learning through this COVID era that there's people with a lot of depression.
Yes,
we realize because the alcohol and the drugs mask everything, so it makes everybody life of the party.
Well,
But when the music shuts off and the lights go out, and you're alone in the mirror and facing life, it's not the same feeling you have like when we're all together. Look at Avicii. Look at Avicii, for instance. I mean, I know he wasn't in the madness that we were, but that's someone who, again, rest in peace, who when it comes down, the lights are off, and the expectations or whatever you put on yourself and the demands, and you saw that documentary, and it's like, how much do I have to work? How much do I have to work? I mean, it's like, that's tough. So yeah, but you're right. It does mask it all, and it's about when the lights go off. Are you okay with yourself? And you need to be okay with yourself and be able to sit. That's exactly what finding out that people are not okay with themselves, and that's why they're putting on that mask. I mean, for us, I'm going to be real. The music masked everything. I hear a record, we're all happy. I mean, every problem that's in your brain is now gone for that moment. But when the night ends, or we walk out with the ugly lights on, everybody's like, Jesus Christ, who put the lights on? You're like, whatever. It hits you, those problems come right back and they hit you straight in the face. It's like someone punching you. It's just...
You know what, mate? I think you've got to, and it's very hard to do. You have to learn to love yourself. And I don't mean that in a vain way. I mean, you have to say to yourself in the morning, I'm all right. I'm okay as I am. I think the world that we live in now is because it's so available, and the information's there. And, we go on social media every day, and we go and, see stuff that we think we have to aspire to. Like, so you look at Instagram and you think, and people they don't live their own lives. They think I have to be like that. That's not the authentic me. That's wanting to be someone else, because underneath it's, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm not generalizing. It's not everyone, but, it's a big thing now, and we've got to be aware of it, because, even coming out of what we've been in for the last year and a half, as you say, many people have developed depression.
Yes.
And it's the uncertainty, it's the not knowing what's going on, and it's the concern about how we're going to live our lives, and and I think you're right. Music. This is why, so fundamentally, why this year has been so tough for not only us who work in that game, but people who want to go out, because it's their release.
Yeah.
And standing in a nightclub dancing is the forgetting. If you can forget for 5, 6, 7 hours, enjoying stuff that causes good emotions, which music does.
And the endorphins.
Music is life, isn't it? We map our lives by music, and I think if someone's not a music fan, let's say, I guarantee you can say, are there any certain records or music? You can't avoid music. You can't never hear music. There's going to have something you hear at a time in your life will resonate on a level, and give bring an emotional attachment to that. And generally, sad songs, good songs, happy songs. Music's love, isn't it? It's the language of love, and music is a language. It's how we used to communicate.
Yeah.
Back in the caveman days, you'd play drums, or you'd make a sound to convey emotion, I'd imagine. And then your music was always at the core of something. At fun times, wasn't it? You'd see in the courts, or in someone will be playing a mandolin or something, and be, you know what I mean?
Mandolin.
A mandolin. not a small orange.
How about your squeeze box? How about the thing like this? Look, put your change in. Put your change in.
I actually don't know what Brandon's been saying. With me working at the radio station, numbers have probably doubled over the, maybe even more than that, maybe up to nearly 3 times over this last year. I think the radio's been brilliant for mental health. We've embraced some charities as well. We've tried to get Brandon to come on and talk a few times about it. We're involved in mental charity, his charity. We've had different days for different things. And a lot of people have felt like they're buying into like a family when they listen to the radio. We treat it like the Centreforce family. And obviously the root of that all is basically music. All different kinds of genres of music are pulling people together. You find solace in it. You find hope. It's an amazing, it's an amazing thing to be part of and see that you're actually helping people through this traumatic period as well.
How hard is it to run a radio station these days?
How hard is it to what, right?
How difficult is it now, the workload of running a
it's hell. I've got 85 prima donnas driving me mad every day.
85?
Yeah, there's 85 on the roster now. If you think about it, 2-hour shows daily, 24/7. 12.
Hang on, sorry. I don't know
Who's
why.
ringing? Not me.
Yeah.
Who's guilty, lads? Come on.
Who'd have that silly ringtone? Be honest.
Back in the day, could you imagine back in the day having that ringtone?
You'd have been shot. You'd have been shot, wouldn't you?
Okay.
It's all about the crazy frog.
Final question I'm going to ask you, because I know you're both busy. Don't cry, Alex.
I'm crying now. It's Brocco's reduced me.
It's almost over.
I've actually got hay fever for the first time in my life.
Hay fever.
Hey, baby, give me some fever.
One quick question, and this will give it the sum up. If you had to do it over, would you do it over?
Yes, 100%.
Hell yes.
Bells on. I'll do it a lot better this time round as well. I'll see a few pit holes, a few pitfalls.
I think I would take care of myself a bit better.
I thought he was going to say I'd choose my friends better.
Hey, I need new people around me. No. Wait. Fire this firm. We're getting a new firm if we do this again. A new staff of people. Okay.
Yeah, do it all again, man. Let's do it one more time.
No, Brando, would you do it again?
The average right band, wouldn't it? Let's go round again, Blocky.
One more time. Yes, of course I would. I wouldn't change. It's made me where I am today, mate. So.
Not one thing you would change. Not one thing.
I'd change. I just would. If I knowing, are we saying we do it again, knowing what we know now, or are we going back to just not knowing? But we do know. You see, we can't unlearn it. Well, we can, but no, I don't think I'd change anything. I think, I think it's a great journey to be on and to be part of it for 30 years and still, be fairly good. Although my hips, like his, and knees are giving in.
The bones are going.
It's the aches and pains of growing gracefully old. But
I might change my approach to trying to get Red Bull into the country in a different manner.
And I changed our CD choice. On mixing skills, I'd have changed our mixing skills. No, you know what, mate? Do you know what he did? Right, one day after Space, we met a hippie who's living in Figueres, and he said, "Come and have a tattoo." And it was like 91. So we said, "Oh, all right, we'll come and have a tattoo afterwards." So we went to sit in his chair, and he said, "God," he said, "Oh, I'll have that one." I said, "Oh, I'll have one." And he never had his. he just left me with mine. I chewed for a cigarette butt while I was having it. It said, "No, don't hurt at all." And that one tattoo led to this.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't.
My advice is do not go and have a tattoo with Alex.
One thing to change, AB. We had so much fun though, didn't we, man? Really, when you think about it all.
You got more. Look, you have more to write in this book. We're not done yet. We still have another part from now till the end.
Cool. Yeah. It's not over by a long shot.
We're still writing. It's not over yet. We still have more fun.
Doing this tonight has actually reignited a little spark for me as well. I think it's been very nice talking to you, mate, and good seeing Alex.
But here, wait, don't leave. I want to know what the hell you sang from Hotel Motel. From when
tonight, what did I sing? I sang the whole lot, mate. 15 minutes.
He could do it now. I'll go and lie down and wake me up in a minute.
Go ahead. Everybody's going to ask me.
I could do it now, but I choose not to. Because what happens is you get out of breath about 4 bars in. Start puffing. You go.
It was his party trick at every birthday. He sang the whole lot, didn't you, Bran? You done it at mine, yours, Truman's.
And then at the break, where the breakdown comes and it goes into the second verse.
Give us a second verse. Come on. Give us a second verse.
Oh, the second verse. Hip, hop, no, hold on. Hip, 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 rock it out, baby, bubba, to the boogie, bang, bang, boogie, to the beat. Said I can't wait to the end of the week when we're rapping to the rhythm of a groovy beat and the tent to raise your body, blah, blah, blah. That's the second verse, isn't
it?
On that note, we're going to give these guys, fellas, a thank you. And I love you both. And God bless you both. You know, you are.
Thanks for having us. It's been brilliant.
Absolute pleasure, mate. It's lovely to see you looking well as well, man. Absolutely good to see you looking well.
Superstar icons, rock stars always.
Oh, love you, mate. Thank you. Blocky, love you, love.
Somebody's tuning in tonight because they're on next week. Nikki Holloway.
Blimey, that's the best take from 1946, isn't it?
Great photo of Nikki. It's a great
Nikki, we love you too, man.
Tune in next week, of course, to hear Nikki Holloway clarify where they leave off. Because she's the first to bring a lot of people over as a promoter, club DJ.
Ask him about singing This Is the Way to Amarillo in the Aqua Park space.
But we got to catch Nikki Holloway. I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week's True House Stories. Of course, it was true legends of the game.
Lovely.
Alex and Blanco rocking the box. Like I always said, they would rock it. Jesus Christ, they rocked the box. Yes. Maybe we sparked Brandon to get his turntables back out, those golden turntables, like the Torah. He'll come out like Moses with his turntables hold up in his hand. I can't wait to play with you guys again. I can't wait.
My God, it's too long, man.
Oh, God, I can't wait to do this again. And everybody around the world has had a good evening with you. You've given us moments of grandeur, excitement, and we're looking forward to writing it one more time. So on that note, I want to leave everyone right here. Catch us next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 o'clock New York City time, and whatever hell time it is everywhere else, find your time, Google it. And I am Lenny Fontana. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Brando. We're going to end it here. Good night, everyone.